Welcome back to part two. In part one, we looked at the surprises of 2011. And every season, you got surprises, Stephen, and unfortunately, you got some major disappointments. And
there's a
boy,
flip side.
The flip side's kind of ugly. And you can't help but start. My God, what has happened to the Minnesota Twins? This is a team that has been a perennial playoff contender in the Central. I mean, don't get me wrong, the AL Central is not exactly a powerhouse division, but this team's been 1-2 in that division forever. They're horrible. They're 17-36 on the season. Are they really that bad, or am I missing something here? What's going on?
Yeah, a lot of injuries, and it's just had a snowball effect where they have 6 wins at home. It's
6-15 at home, and we were just talking before we went on air. That didn't happen in the old,
the old Metrodome days. Yeah, it's sad. I think some of it, maybe a lot of it's been attributed to injuries and things. And sometimes teams just have these down years. They snowball. They're out of it, by June, and there's no point to keep playing. And they start looking at young players. They take their lumps, and it kind of snowballs. And it's too bad because the Twins always were one of these under-the-radar value-type teams. And now, you can't touch them with monopoly money.
It's a situation. Now, normally whenever you've got a team that has so far underperformed, the natural reaction for us as handicappers is we say, this team's not that bad, and there's going to be value backing them later because, the world's going to be sour on them. Vegas is going to have adjusted the lines. You're going to get decent numbers. But with a team like this, that, like we said, has been a perennial playoff team, the fact that the playoffs are gone. I mean, I can, hear Jim Mora somewhere saying, playoffs, it's gone.
Did that pretty good.
Yeah. Does the team quit? I mean, really, you got to worry about that?
Well, especially when they would make the playoffs on an overachieving type basis. It's never that they had the overwhelming talent that they made the playoffs. They kind of overachieved, well-managed, played good baseball, smart baseball, and I think they're going to start trading off their high-salary guys. I certainly they'll win more games at home, but I don't want to get behind this train at all. It's
manager job in jeopardy, or does he?
He's a good man, Gradenhammer. He's okay. I don't think he can take too many years like this one, but I think he's okay for this year.
I mean, especially if they're going to go the route of sell off if they go that route, sell off the high price, and kind of start over. You kind of got to give a guy a 1 year pass.
Yeah.
Next one, and this one is a surprise to me, and I think this is one that there will be value in the second half of the season, and that's the Colorado Rockies. The team is set up to be better than they are right now. Now, they're only 4 games under 500. But as far as the money line goes, if you played them every game, because they've been such big numbers, especially at home, you'd be down $1,300 with this team. And where it goes to, there's one guy that's been a money burner for Colorado, and it's when Jimenez has started. Because of the success he's had in the last couple of years, he's been a monster favorite. He just doesn't have his stuff this year.
Well, they have 3 superstars. Jimenez, the pitcher, who you mentioned, Tulowitzki, the shortstop, and Gonzalez, the outfielder. All are having down years. I don't think they're going to stay there. I think these are quality, very good players, legitimate all-stars, so I think they're all going to raise the level. The thing is with baseball, Marco, it's 162 games. You got a lot of time. You're going to have peaks and valleys. Guys usually hit their norm. And these guys are established stars, if not superstars. So I think pitchers can kind of go hot and cold, but I think at least in the case of the shortstop and the outfielder, these guys are going to start performing better. So, yeah, I think Colorado's a team to play on. Maybe not on the road, but certainly at Coors.
The situation when I'm looking to try to find an undervalued team, as I said, this team's only 4 games under 500. 2 games under 500 at home, 2 games under 500 on the road. So they're basically 1 game away from a 500 on both areas. So it's a team that is just right there. They're almost there. They're not quite there. And I just think because people look at lists like I'm looking at, you know, the money chart for 2011, and they see Colorado next to the bottom, you know, you have an illusion that the team is worse than they are. And I really do think this is going to be a play-on team over the next 60 days. Another one, this one, you know, again, we'll keep quoting NFL coaches. This team is who we thought they were, and that's the Houston Astros. We thought they were bad. They are bad. Yeah. What can you say there? I mean, they got rid of all the stars. I mean, what do you have?
They're going to get rid of more of their stars. They'll probably trade Bourne and some of these guys. They have a terrible bullpen. They have terrible defense, and their offense isn't very good. Other than that, they're fine.
You know,
they're bad. What's happening in Houston? You know, the Texans, you know, never make the playoffs. The Rockets now don't make the playoffs, and then you have the Astros, who are the worst of the bunch. It's
you know,
they'll probably trade Brett Myers now too, although he's gone in the tank. I mean, they just. I like Hunter Pence, and I think this Brett Wallace at first base is showing some potential. But other than that, there's not a whole lot there. Yeah.
Oil's up in Texas. You know, that's the only thing they got to smile about in Texas, the oil prices.
Yeah.
The Cubs, I guess I could just say ditto. I could say ditto. I mean,
yeah, next.
They are what they are, and I mean.
Well, the Cubs. Let me just rail on them. You know, why doesn't management get a clue there? Either go veterans or go youth. This blend of both isn't working out. It hasn't worked out. This is a team that just doesn't have a clue how to put together a run at a championship. They just go out and get these guys. No thought to chemistry or how to manufacture runs. Go out and come up with a concrete game plan. You have the money to do it. You have the deep pockets.
They had a nice 1-2 starting, you know, punch with Dempster and Zambrano, but Zambrano's getting older. Dempster, those two guys are not studs anymore.
Marco, you're not going to win a pennant with Carlos Zambrano. And granted, he's put up good numbers. You're right, but he's not going to be there for you when you need him. He's a volatile player. They go out and get Matt Garza, a fly ball pitcher in Wrigley Field. Does that make sense? They spend all this money on Soriano. He can't run anymore. He's already hurt. He's on the DL. They have some promising young guys. Look how good Castro's been at shortstop. I think the guy's hitting over 320 or something. They have some promising youth. Ride these guys. See what you can do. Build up something with these guys.
The next team is Boston, and that's only because of their horrid start. I mean, Boston's a team, we're seeing what they've got now. They're playing good, you know, baseball. The pitching, you know, started off slow. Pitching's coming around. Beckett's been solid all year. So Boston will be just fine. A team that's on the bottom half of the money chart this year that I think is undervalued, but this is another one of those teams like we talked about, you know, with Florida, you're not going to win games pretty. The Oakland A's they've got one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. The starting rotation there, they can't score a run, man. Yeah. It's, you know, I do a radio show 3 nights a week, Chris Townsend show, and Chris Townsend is also the A's pre-game and post-game announcer, so he covers all the A's, so we get into a lot of in-depth talks on the A's. I mean, it's sad night after night when a guy goes out there, you know, Gio Gonzalez, and, you know, throws you a 2-run game, and you look up at the scoreboard and it's 2-0, you're losing, you know. I mean, it's at some point you got to go out and buy some bats.
No, right on the money. Oakland's got the great pitching, but it's hard to get involved with them, you know, as a favorite with their lack of hitting. I like some of these good pitchers, you know, especially as dogs, but a lot of the time that's on the road, and I prefer them at home. It's, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of bats out there, especially in the American League where you can have the DH.
The problem is anybody that's going to give up a good hitter, they want one of those pitchers, and you're not. You can't cut your nose off to spite your face.
They have enough pitching, though, where they got to go out and get some offense.
Who would you get rid of in that lineup?
Well, depends on what hitter I can get back. But they've got some good, a lot of good arms there. They lose one guy, bring in another guy who's just as good. It's,
you got a starting rotation with Cahill, Gonzalez, Anderson. Who am I missing? Dallas Braden.
I'd rather have too much pitching and be in a position to deal than too much hitting and be in a position to deal. I think you can always get more with a good pitcher. Yeah, you're going to bite the bullet and get rid of one of those guys. But any of those guys you mentioned should command a pretty good price. Should be able to get, two pretty good offensive players.
Well, there you have it. I think value-wise, my team that's underachieved in the first 2 months and I think's going to be worth money in the next 2 months is the Colorado Rockies. Any pick for you, Stephen, you think's definitely better than what they've been playing, and it's going to turn around for them?
I kind of look at it as a day-to-day thing, not so much long-term, but I can't disagree with you about Colorado. I would maybe wait till they got back to Denver. They're on a big road losing streak as we speak, as we tape here, and even if you may have to put out a little price, I think they do improve, and they are tough at home.
Okay. Well, there you have it. That's our preview, or recap, I should say, of the first 2 months of the season, trying to spot some value for you guys as we move forward. We're going to do one more video. If you stay tuned with us, we're going to talk about poker news. A lot of guys, love poker, and obviously since Black Friday, the market's changed. So we're going to talk about the World Series of Poker opened up this week in Vegas, and there's some big-time news coming out of it. We'll be right back with that.